It is our cover to introduce Rabbi Phil Spiro, world-renowned speaker and writer, who came in from Baltimore to greet us today.
Good morning, everybody. I have to tell you that I'm very humbled to be here. I'm very grateful to Morty for asking me to come. And I said to make tshuva is a daunting time. It's a time of a lot of introspection, a time of Osiris, and a time when our hearts and our neshamas yearn to become closer to Hashem. And there is a minig, there's a custom, miyamim yamima, it goes back many, many generations, to come to the Beis Olam. I was here a few minutes earlier than the rest of you, and I see there was a stream of people, both strictly observant and some people who clearly were not. And they were all coming into the Beis Olam. And they're coming here to pour out their hearts, whether it's to a loved one or it's to a tzaddik. And it's a very special time. You know, there's a story. Somebody once came to the Imre Emes, and he said to him, you know, I go to Mekaymes Hakdoshim, I go to holy places, and I try to feel some Osiris, I try to cry, but it doesn't happen. He says, I want you to know something. There was once a king, and the king announced he's coming to a village, and he wants everybody to bring him a present. And everybody goes to the store, and they take out all of their savings, and they buy the king the nicest present they can find. But there's one chacham who goes to the store, and he waits till nobody's looking, and he says, listen, let me ask you something. Do you have anything like behind the counter that's broken? Something really expensive. He says, you want to get something that's broken? He says, yeah. He says, I happen to have a vase here that recently broke, must be in 50 pieces. I'll give it to you for very cheap. He says, exactly, that's what I wanted. Wrap it up beautifully. And he brings this broken vase to the king. And he's standing there very proudly. Look how much I spent, Your Royal Highness. And the king opens it up and he says, off with his head. He says, why? I got you such an expensive present. And he looks at him and he says, it's broken. He says, I know. Must have broken on the way. He says, it didn't. He says, how do you know? He says, because each piece was individually wrapped. You can't have prepared brokenness. You can't say, I'm going to cry here, and I'm not going to cry there. It comes from your heart, it comes from your neshama. And sometimes you're lucky, you feel good, and you come to a place where you want to cry, and you cry. And sometimes you come to a place and you don't cry. You should know there's no less siyata d'shmaya in your tefillas. There's no less acceptance of your tefillas just because you don't feel it. Feeling it is a gift. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And this little journey we take, and it will be a journey through hundreds of years and through many, many different countries. But on this little journey that we take, in the past, when I've gone to different countries sometimes to lead a tour, we go to Botei Kfaris, you bring a little Osiris with you, and sometimes to help us bring out that Osiris, it helps to have a little strumming of a guitar. I've asked my good friend David Schmalzer to come, and I want to thank him for coming along. Of course, we have Shlomi Dax, who's come in many, many years beforehand, and hopefully we'll be able to sing a little bit after we're in Osiris. But it's important that we spend this time looking to the Mizdabik to come closer to Hashem. And my Yirgas Heged to you is, that Mitzvah Hashem, whatever you're davening for, whatever Yeshua it may be, they should listen, the Tzadikim should listen, the Rabbeinu Shalom should listen. And Mitzvah Hashem, the Rabbeinu Shalom will accept those tefillas, and the Refuahs and Yeshuas will come.
Okay, everyone please follow us in the order that you are. We're going to go to Rav Tom's kever first. While Rabbi Spiro's speaking. Someone's going to go around now collecting for Tomchei Shabbos. It's a big Indian tzedakah. I'm sure Spirit will speak about it now.
Before we speak about the Rosh Hashiva of Pam and his Rebbetzin, I want to mention two short ideas. There is a question as to whether or how one should daven at a kever. Because halachically, there's a problem of davening to Nemtzoi, to davening to a middleman, so to speak. We daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom. And I'm not going to get into the Shaila. Some people say you can, some people say you can't, but I came across a remarkable Maram Shik. And the Maram Shik says that when a person comes to a Tzaddik's kever, pour out your heart. Cry and tell him all your tzaras. Because the tzaddik has a tremendous heart. And the tzaddik is going to feel that pain. And the tzaddik doesn't deserve to feel that pain. And because of that, the Rebbeinu Shalom will be native with us. The Rebbeinu Shalom will save the tzaddik from the pain. And in turn, whether it's deserving or not, the Rebbeinu Shalom will bring the Yeshua. One other note about tzedakah. We all are going to daven, and I'm sure we've been davening for weeks with extra kavanah and Rosh Hashanah, so make tshuva, of course. But it's important to know the Kav HaYosher says that when a person davens, it's a wonderful thing and it has a tremendous power to accomplish. But it's like when you serve a meal. Serve a lot of food, it will nourish the person you are feeding. Tzedakah is the tavlin. It's the spice that makes that tefillah tastier, makes it more delicious, makes it better. It enhances it immeasurably. And so the schus of giving tzedakah, the very worthy cause of Mitzvah Shem, should enhance our tefillahs. It should make them more makubal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we should have the Yeshua. How fitting it is we begin with Rav Pam and his Rebbetzin. Rav Pam, it first needs to be stated, was a goin and a tzaddik and a paisik and a Talmid Chacham mufli. He was also a nister, because everybody has that picture of Rav Pam with his big smile. And every generation, the Tzadikim give to the tzibur what they need most. Somebody told me that there was a time when Rav Pam was supposed to speak. I believe it was a Shuvu parlor meeting. Rav Pam was very, very involved with the Russian boys and to help bring back Yidden. And he was at a parlor meeting, and there's posters all over the place announcing that he's coming. And right outside this person's house, there was one of those posts, one of those lamp posts, and the poster was wrapped around it. And a day later he comes out and the poster's gone, and he's thinking to himself, Antisemiten, Goyim, why do they have to do that? Why do they have to rip off a picture of a tzaddik? He's very bothered. A few minutes later, his Goyish neighbor comes over to him and he says, I hope you don't mind. The rabbi looked so pure and holy, I had to have a picture of him in my house. And we would all do well to have a picture of Rav Pam and his Rebbetzin in our homes, because Rav Pam and his Rebbetzin were gentle and soft and excelled in their relationship with each other as well. There's a story that they say about Rav Pam and his Rebbetzin, and it happens to be that it strikes a chord with me very much, because the same story happened with my grandparents. My grandmother was an almana when she was 46 years old, and she never got remarried. But when they came, and this happened with Rav Pam and his Rebbetzin, when they came to get Rav Pam's talus, and they came to get his kittel, she asked the chevra if they could wait a little bit, because she wanted to iron the kittel. She wanted to iron the talus to make sure that he was buried in the most dignified manner possible. And this is something that we can all relate to. Can we be goinim and tzadikim all the time? Maybe not. But if we're zeicha to have a spouse and you're zeicha to have a relationship or close relationship with anybody, we can iron out those differences. We can make sure that we strive to be beautiful people. And Rav Pam was somebody who was that and more. Yesterday I was looking at the Sefer Atar LaMelech, which was written by Rav Pam. Now the Sefer in itself was not written by Rav Pam, it was his Torah, and Rav Matas Bloom and other Kivrei Torah V'das put it together. Rav Pam Zainikel told me that he was staying at Rav Pam's home, and Rav Pam was b'Seif Yomov. He was very weak. He came down very rarely. He would come down maybe once a day, and he went up to visit his Zayda to say goodbye for what he thought would be the last time. And he comes to his Zayda, kisses him goodbye, and Rav Pam takes out a Sefer Atar LaMelech, and he writes him an inscription. And he writes to his Zainikel, you have the koiches, you should become a Rebbe. You have a talent. And he wrote out this entire inscription. And when he wrote it out, his grandson was very moved. He kissed his grandfather goodbye and he went to wait on the steps of his home. And then he hears his grandfather coming downstairs. He never came downstairs, he was very sick. He turns around and helps his Zayda down the stairs. And Rav Pam asks for the Sefer one more time. He says, okay, gives it back to him. And Rav Pam puts it down on the piano or on a bench. And he puts a little extension to the period at the end of the bracha. And he makes a comma. And he writes two words that change the entire bracha. Shelekach noitzarta. This is why you were created. Rav Pam had the ability to take something gentle and to put a charge into it and to make it happen. He saved thousands of Yiddish Kinder. He inspired generations of Talmidim. And what he writes by Ne'ilah is something that's very, very timely. What is Rav Pam going to say as the gates of heaven are closing? What does he say to the tzibur? And this is what he said. So the Gemara in Bracha says, "Hayotzim beis hakneses al tafsiu b'sio gaso." Don't take large steps. Don't take big steps when you leave the shul. And Rav Pam said, very soon we're going to be leaving this man. Yom Kippur is going to end. And very soon, Sukkot is going to end. And this entire time of closeness that we have with Hashem, the entire time that we felt so connected and so elevated, and we felt closer to the people who were meant to be, that time will come to an end this year. But Rav Pam says, you just finished saying Vidui. We said it 10 times. 10 of the Al-Chaitz revolve around Shmiras Hadibur, Shmiras Hapeh. Al Tafsiu Psiya Gasa. 100 times you confessed not talking nicely about another Yid. Don't walk quickly away from that Kabbalah. Take small steps if you have to walk away. Maybe you can't be perfect. But take it slowly away from Yom Kippur. Take Yom Kippur with you. Take your Abbas Yisrael and love for a fellow Yid along with you. And Amitzvah Hashem, the schus of Rav Pam and his Rebbetzin. And enough to say about the Rebbetzin that she was Rav Pam's wife. And she's told somebody, a fellow by the name of Ari Polkman, she said, you know what the trick is to Shalom Bayis? She said, the trick to Shalom Bayis is, you gotta be mevater. She was married to Rav Pam. You gotta be mevater. A couple needs to work together, and our relationships need to work together. You feel an Abbas Yisrael and Amitzvah Hashem, that should be a schus for all of us.
Okay, before, I just want to make note of the cemetery guides that we gave out, the booklets. I'm going to tell you some pages you may want to fold over on the corner to say. Page 48 is a tefillah you're supposed to say at a cemetery, a bracha. If you weren't there in 30 days, you may want to bend over that page. Page 48. Page 70. So 48 so far. Page 70 is a special tefillah that you say before Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. You may want to bend over page 70. And finally, page 83 is a tefillah that you say at the grave of Tzadikim, which we're going to many of them today. So to repeat, I don't know. Could they say it by each one? No, one. Say once for all. Again, page 48. 48 is the tefillah entering a cemetery the first time in 30 days, the bracha. Page 70 is tefillah for Erev Rosh Hashanah and Erev Yom Kippur. And page 83 is a tefillah by the great of Tzaddik, Shlomi. Actually, while Shlomi Dax is starting to sing, those ladies, we'll do the ladies first and then the men. Follow me over here. Please do not walk on any quorum. Single file. Rapam's kever, just to show everyone, is right here. This is Rapam, and his Rebbitzin is right next to him, and then his mother and father right after them. Is Rapam, Rebbitzin Pam, his mother and father right after. You can say a tefillah. We ask everyone to do 30 seconds so everyone can have a chance. Please stay close to the kever, otherwise you're walking on this grave right behind us.
למען החי בריו, למען החי בריו, אדברונו, שלום בו, למען החי בריו, למען החי בריו, אדברונו, שלום בו, למען בייס השם אלוהינו, אבק שותוי בו, למען בייס השם אלוהינו, אבק שותוי בו. I just wanted to add, while we continue strumming, a beautiful story to add to Rabbi Spiro, but don't worry, this is the only time I'm going to speak. The rest I'm here to sing, not to be Rabbi Spiro. But the most beautiful story I heard about Rav Pam, which epitomizes everything Rabbi Spiro just said, was the people came in to talk to him from an organization, and they saw 5 or 6 wedding invitations on his desk. And one of them said, Rosh Hashiva, why do you have all these invitations on your desk? And he said, because I'm a Nebuchadnezzar at the end of my life, and I'm already weak. I can't go to all these Talmid and these weddings. So what I do is the day of that chasana, I take that invitation, and I say 3 kapitlach of Tehillim, and I have that chassan and kala in mind, for shalom bayis, for gesund, for parnasa, for simchas achayim, for healthy children, and then I discard the invitation. And as Rabbi Pesach Krohn so immeasurably says, he adds to the story, how many of us have this chus to go to weddings, and we talk during the chuppahs, and we're in and out, running and coming and going. The chus that Rav Pam did, not even being at the wedding. How we could take upon ourselves, perhaps on this holy, holy week, that even at chuppahs is such a special time to daven for shidduchim and daven for everything that we need, and not talk all the time during chuppahs, as Rav Pam taught us the power of Tehillim. toivo Iman beis Hashem Elokeinu avach toivo Iman achai b'yom Iman achai b'yom Adabrano, Shalom bo, Iman achai b'yom, Iman achai b'yom, Adabrano, Shalom bo. Hashem Elokeinu, Havak Shotoyvo, Leheman Beis Hashem Elokeinu, Havak Shotoyvo. Hashem, Ono Hashem, Ki ani Abdecho, Ono Hashem, Ono Hashem, Ki ani Abdecho, Ono Hashem, Ono Hashem, Ki ani Abdecho, Ono Hashem, Ono Hashem, Ki ani Abdecho, Ki ani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Ani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Ani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Pitachto leMoseiro, Hoy Ani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Ani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Ani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Pitachto leMoseiro. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Yani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Ani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Ani Abdecho, Ben Amosecho, Pitachto leMoseiro. La 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 la. La 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 la.